welcome to my channel, B&B Horsemanship. Today we're going to talk about nutritional requirements for horses. So I have a few notes here that I wrote down when I did some research. So first, you always want to have a high fiber base for any meal for your horse. So you need it to be about 1.5% to 2% of their body weight in just forage and or high fiber source on a daily basis. So I give mine Timothy pellets as their base. You can do alfalfa cubes or alfalfa Bermuda cubes or any type just to be their base. So next I like to do some people really like to give their horses a lot of protein. Protein is good for them, but too much can cause liver and kidney issues. I know it to be more likely to cause kidney failure or higher elevations in their kidney values. So it's really best to just stay away from that. Not necessarily stay away from it, but definitely watch how much you're giving and make sure that you're not overdoing it. For example, I have a horse who, when I got him, he has kidney issues, so I don't give him any alfalfa hay, but I do give him a little bit of alfalfa and Bermuda cubes with his Timothy pellets, but mostly because he does still need a little bit of protein, and right now the grain I give doesn't have a whole lot. It's got a good amount, but not an overdue amount, so it's okay to supplement that a little bit. So also, when it comes to minerals, generally you don't want to overload them on minerals either. Of course, that can cause any multiple types of deficiencies. Not really going to go too deep into that, but the minerals, mainly if you are supplementing them, it needs to complement the basic ration, because too much, of course, is harmful. Well, another thing is when it comes to electrolytes. Electrolytes are really good to give in the summer and especially in the winter. So in the summer, of course, they're sweating a lot. If you're working them a lot, they really need to have their electrolytes supplemented, just good in general. When it comes to the winter, the reason I like to give it in the winter is because my horses don't get blanketed, mostly because I can't afford blankets, and Bowen rips everything that I have, so I don't even bother with him. I do feel bad because his winter coat isn't amazing this year, but I'm hoping next year will be better. And the winter hasn't been too bad here, so he's making it through. He's not suffering or anything like that. But I do give electrolytes because their bodies are overworking, and sometimes they can become malnourished because of that. So to keep from that, I just give electrolytes in their feed at night. Also, another good thing to give is salt blocks. Salt blocks are amazing to just have in their stalls, because if they don't want it, then they probably just don't need to supplement it. But my horses, especially in the winter, if I don't have a salt block in their stall, they'll steal their neighbor's salt block, or sometimes out of the pasture. I don't know, sometimes they just end up with a salt block that's not mine. I don't know how they do it, but they just do. So also, there's quite a few things that you need to consider when it comes to any type of ration that you give your horse. So you need to consider their activity level, their age, their breed, and also if your horse is an easy keeper, then obviously you don't need to overdo it on all of these things. Some horses need a little extra biotin for their hooves or a little extra crude protein. Some don't because they're easy keepers. Now if your horse is a hard keeper, it's okay to adjust the nutrition that you're giving them in order to keep them at a healthy weight. I'm going to insert here some charts that I found on the website where I did some of my research. It'll talk about, I think it's 500 kilograms, so that's a 1,200 pound horse, which is about what my horse Amazai is at. He's at 1,300 pounds. My other horse Bowen, he's at about 950,000 pounds. Yeah, somewhere around there. So it's about that category. I'm just doing average size horses. I'm not doing draft horses or ponies or brood mares, because those also are very different and they branch out into different ones. If you want me to do a video on those, I'm more than happy to. Just leave a comment below requesting it, and I will get working on that. But for now, I'm just doing average horses around 900 to 1,300 pounds. By the way, I'll add the charts that I found on the website. They're good to look at. Also, I'm going to input what I feed my horses, everything I give from their grain, their pellets, the cubes, to all of the supplements that I give, and I'll go further into detail on that as I pull up each one. So these are the charts that I found. This first one is for growing horses up until they're 2 years old. The second chart that I have is just for maintenance, and it's just, of course, like guidelines. And then, of course, lastly, this other chart is based on activity level, and I would definitely reference from these because it's pretty specific and it does give a good amount of detail. So this is what I feed my horses. Of course, Timothy pellets, which I get from Tractor Supply. I give Amaziah a quart and Bowen half a quart. Here's a list of ingredients. On top of that, I do add 4 cubes of the alfalfa Bermuda cubes to Bowen's and 5 to Amaziah's, and I do soak both of these for an hour. Both horses get 1 scoop of glucosamine, of course, for their joints and the cartilage. I also give Via Calm. This is more for Bowen when there are thunderstorms or when it rains because he gets really anxious. And of course, this is my electrolyte that I give, and I give those most days, especially during the summer and during the winter. Next, I also give Do More Vitamin Gold. I like this more or less because it just is an overall vitamin for their coats. It's good for their hooves. It's just overall good for them. I also give Show Hoof because Bowen has very soft frogs because of all the moisture lately, and I think that he just needs something to help him rebuild it. So, and I also don't have shoes on him. So, right now I think that's just something good for him to be on. Also, a side note, the Show Hoof and the Do More Vitamin Gold do have some things that overlap. So I only give 1 scoop of the Show Hoof and 1 scoop of the Do More to Bowen, whereas Amaziah gets 2 scoops of the Do More and he doesn't get the Show Hoof at all. Now, of course, I do give Tribute Calm and Ease. Both of my boys get grain just once a day in the evening. Amaziah gets a quart and Bowen gets half a quart due to their size and how much I work them. Tribute was made for horses with laminitis, so it's great for them because of the low sugars, which is also beneficial to diabetic horses. Just for clarification, I do feed my horses twice a day. They both get 2 flakes of hay in the morning, 2 flakes at night of grass hay, and on top of that, in the morning, they only get Timothy pellets, top line, and they get the Bermuda cubes because they still need something in the morning, but I give all of my extra supplements at night because I just don't want the people at the boarding facility to mess it up and cause problems or use up my product too quick or anything like that. So just to be safe, I'm the one who takes care of that in the evening. Either way, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I am not a nutritionist in any way. I just am basing off of like my research and also what I know from having horses and from being a veterinary technician. So that does help me out a little bit. Always do your research. If you are having a horse with a specific problem like kidney failure, liver failure, Cushing's disease, anything like that, always talk to your veterinarian, always discuss with them. Get your main information from them. Don't fully rely on what I have put out. That is going to be your best bet and it'll be the safest for you and your horse. I hope you enjoyed this video and you guys have a blessed day.